Hello. Today I'm going to share with you some little handy gadgets that I have in my kitchen that I really own. I really use them with regularity, and they are extremely helpful in cutting down time in the kitchen. Welcome to A Great Cooker. I'm Sophronia. I have 11 kitchen gadgets. I tend to get off count with these, but I'm pretty sure it's 11. So let's go ahead and get started. This little handy dandy tool, I hope you can see it all right. I don't know what the official term is, but I just call it a meat chopper. And it only has one purpose. A lot of these gadgets I'm going to show you only have one purpose, but it's a powerful purpose. It's okay to have one purpose in life. The purpose of this tool is to, I'm looking at it and noticing it could be a little cleaner, is to chop ground meat while it's cooking in the pot or in your skillet. And this is awesome. You could literally take like a whole pound of ground turkey or ground beef and just put it in your skillet, in your heated up skillet, and just do this and move it around a bit. And it does a great job. I wish that if I could go back in time, I would have always owned one of these, but I don't know. I just came across it maybe 5, 6 years ago. I'm going to leave affiliate links for everything that I show you in case you're interested in checking out any of these. The second gadget I have is a garlic peeler, I guess. I don't know if you can see in there, but on the inside, it's textured and it's smooth on the outside. And what you do is you take a piece of garlic and that's hasn't been peeled yet, and you put it inside of here, and then you set it on your counter and you just roll it, kind of press and roll with the garlic inside, and then you remove your garlic and voila, it is peeled. And actually, this is my newest kitchen gadget. I just got this last week. I'd seen these before, and I used to feel like, oh, I don't want to have something in my kitchen that only does one thing. And then I realized I have lots of things in my kitchen that only do one thing. And as long as they do it well, that's fine. So this is really cool. I think, yeah, I bought this in a pack of two. It's like a blue one and a black one. If you use a lot of garlic, a lot of fresh garlic, this is very handy. Can keep your fingers from getting sticky too. You know how sticky garlic is? If you use this to peel your garlic, and then, well, we'll get to that in a minute. This, very handy. Number three is a gadget I use a lot is an oil sprayer or oil spritzer. In all honesty, this is new. I had one previously that I kept olive oil in, but it was designed differently. I don't know if I have any footage of me using that one, but it was a pump. You put your olive oil in it and then you had to pump it and then it would spray. I mean, in theory, it sounds cute, but it did not work very well. So I had been without a sprayer in my kitchen for a while. So since I've gone back to cooking, I had to get a new one of these. And this is for if you want to just lightly spray some oil onto your food. You don't want to drizzle it because it might be too much. Then you would spray it. Number four is a handheld lemon juicer. In the past 2 weeks, I've been cooking pretty consistently. Yeah, in this last 2 weeks that I've been cooking pretty consistently, I have used this almost every single day. I just think most dishes can benefit from a bit of lemon juice. So, very, very handy, and it is easy to use. It is very easy to squeeze this close. I have a shoulder injury, and so there's a lot of things that if they require force, I can't really do them. This is not enough. There's not enough force applied that I feel it in any way. This is extremely handy. We talked about the oil spritzer. Something else that's very handy, I think, is the oil drizzler. Probably not the right word, but um, this one is for olive oil. I guess that's why it's tinted green, and it came with a few different spouts, but this one is the one that I always default to because you see this little flip part right here? Usually that stays over the top like that, and then you can drizzle out just enough oil for whatever it is that you're cooking. If you use olive oil regularly in your kitchen, this can definitely come in handy. Next up is a vegetable chopper. I have owned many of these, different brands, different sizes. I'm going to see if I can find footage of, I used to have this, like, I don't know, it was a pretty big sized uh, food processor that I just used to chop, basically just used it to chop onions, garlic, ginger, and I also used it to shred cheese. But this can take a lot of time off of your cooking because instead of having to chop everything by hand, you can just kind of, if it's an onion, you can half it or quarter it and put it in here. You can put garlic whole in here. And also you can put, big chunks of ginger in there as well. I mean, you could even use it for other things too. You can make guacamole in there if you really wanted to. You could put your avocado, your tomato, the whole shebang, and you could just hit the chop feature and you'd be good to go. The only thing I will say about that little chopper is that it is extremely powerful, and on many an occasion, um, and I found that pretty much all the choppers are the same, the food processors too. If you chop for too long, what you are trying to chop will just wind up being minced. So that's something to keep in mind. I've never found a workaround for that. So I've just made peace with it. And if I accidentally mince my onion, then minced onion is what gets added to the recipe. Number 7 is a meat thermometer. For a couple decades, I was an old school cook. I guess I still am an old school cook, but I did not own a meat thermometer. I just didn't. I would just, I knew approximately how long it would take for food to cook. And then I open up the oven when I thought it was done. And I might take a fork and kind of poke around and look at it a bit. And I cooked like that for a really long time. But these days I do use a meat thermometer. And that is because I always like for my food, especially for my meats, to turn out juicy. And if you overcook them, they won't be juicy. So now it seems so crazy to me. It seems crazy to me that I somehow cooked without a meat thermometer. But I did it. It was fine. And it might be fine for you too. But if you are looking for a bit more precision in your temperatures, definitely, definitely have this. And they don't even cost that much on Amazon. And the ones I get always have the little magnets on the back. So literally you can just stick it on your refrigerator and you always know where it is. Next tool that I have on hand, or that I always have in my kitchen, is this zester or grater. Now you can use this if you want to grate garlic, but like I said, I throw my garlic in the food processor, and that is how I had mentioned earlier in the video about not getting my fingers sticky with garlic anymore. And that's how I do it. I use the peeler, and then I take the garlic clove and I throw it in the food processor or the chopper. No more sticky garlic fingers. So what I actually use this one for these days is zest. is to zest a lemon or zest a lime. I don't zest often, but it can add so much flavor to food. So I honestly used to just skip it. When I would come across a recipe and it would say I needed the zest of a lime, I just wouldn't bother. But one time I actually bought a zester and I used it, and wow, now I know why recipes do call for the zest of lemons and limes. So this is a good idea to have on hand because adding that zest to your food, it can really kick up the flavor a few notches. I don't think I've been doing a good job of counting. The zester was number 8, I think. Number 9 is kitchen shears. These are just handy. I'll be honest with you. I try to keep 2 or 3 of these on hand because they disappear. I have seen people use them to open boxes, cut paper. I've tried my best to discourage that from happening, but once I see that, I'm like, just keep those shears, and I try to make sure that there's at least a few pairs that are only being used for food. What I use the kitchen shears for primarily is I will cut up bacon. Once I've You can do it 2 ways. You can cut up your bacon into pieces before when it's still raw, and then you can cook the bacon pieces, which I find to not be the most efficient way to do it. So I actually cook my strips of bacon first, and then I cut them up into pieces. And I found that works out really well. Also, the main, yeah, there's one other way that I use the kitchen shears, and that is to chop up green onion. I know you can just I know you can just chop it, but you also can just as easily snip it. I don't know. I just something about just chopping up the green onion that I don't know, it feels easier to me. I don't know if it really is or not. Next up, we have the electric can opener. This is another gadget that I really feel like, why didn't I buy this sooner? Why did I not always have an electric can opener in my kitchen? I use cans all the time, and I would just always manually open them. I even would invest in like kind of the fancy can openers that made it pretty easy to open the can when I could have just spent maybe twice as much and just got an electric can opener, which is what I'm glad I did eventually do. So if you use a lot of cans in your kitchen, invest. Make your life easier in the kitchen. You're in the kitchen, you're cooking, you're doing good things for yourself. Make your job easier and get yourself one of these. Next, I have a classic. I feel like a lot of people probably have this in their kitchen. You let me know if you have this or not. And it's just a good old fashioned vegetable peeler. I have another confession. I went many years without a vegetable peeler. I would just use a knife. Um, I cooked with a lot of potatoes too. I would just, over the trash can, I would just scrape off, or cut off the skins with a sharp knife. I don't know why it took me so long, but once I finally got one of these, I have made sure ever since that I've had one in my kitchen. It's not just for potatoes. That's mainly why I use it, but I do also, or why I used it. I don't really cook potatoes nowadays, but ginger. I use this to peel ginger, and also cucumbers. But you can use it for zucchini or just any of those fruit type vegetables that have a peel on them. This will work. Those are the gadgets that I own. I really use, as you've seen from the footage, some of the footage that's in this video. I am always open to ways to save time in the kitchen. So if you have any gadgets that you use that you feel are indispensable, please let me know in the comments. I would definitely appreciate that. And I'm gonna have another video pop up. Might be another tip, another guide um, that will help you save some time in the kitchen. So make sure and check that out. Thank you so much. I always love to have you come to the kitchen with me, and I've definitely enjoyed this time. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to A Great Cooker, and I will see you in the next video.